you may have received an email saying that this email or the training was canceled. That was definitely not the case. I was forwarding it to some people that didn't have the updated link, and I think it ended up sending it out to everybody that it was canceled. So just want to let you know, for any of you that have received any communication that it was canceled, it's not, but I'm recording it so I can go ahead and send it out. And so apologize, sorry for that. First off, let me just say that I want to introduce myself. My name is Dave Luttrell. I'm the new procurement training manager for the Chief Procurement Office for General Services, and we're really excited to kick off this new Training Tuesdays session. So what we're going to do is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. we're going to have a webinar. It will be recorded for those of you that can't make it, but we just want to have some more engagement with the agencies. They'll be short. I don't envision them being more than 30 minutes. Some may be shorter. We just want to have some touch points with you guys to be able to provide updates, those sorts of things. So let's go ahead and what are we going to discuss on the Training Tuesdays? So these are just some examples. I think as we go further on in the series, we'll find other things to discuss and provide updates for you. But for example, CPO notices. So a CPO notice goes out. There's will probably be some questions about it. This would be a chance to ask some questions, provide some. We'll be able to provide updates on those sorts of things for you, as well as CPO memos, bid buy training. Whenever we have little updates to the system, we'll be able to provide you those updates in real time. As well as further in bid buy training, we'll also be doing specific bid buy training for, maybe we will run through the small purchase process, or maybe we want to run through certain little things that agencies may be having a difficult time with, and we want to provide some. We really want to be a resource for you. So that's really where this is coming down to. Also, general procurement training too. So as we go throughout the series, inevitably there will be updates to procurement law. There'll be update to rules, to the procurement code, etc. And we want to be able to provide those resources to you in real time for the updates. Also, if we find little helpful tips along the way, whether that's something specifically in bid buy or other things that we could possibly come up with, we want to be able to have those touch points with you. And so what we're going to talk about today quickly, when we talk about those bid buy updates, we have a couple things. We're going to talk about BEP custom column fields in bid buy. We're going to talk about the small business custom column field in bid buy, as well as we have some updated bid buy job aids for you as well. So first off, let's talk about the BEP custom column fields. Go ahead and go in the bid buy here. Now this is something that you probably have seen, but we really just wanted to touch base on it and make sure that we're driving home that this is the process that you'll be doing. So I just pulled up an RFP here. So this custom column, when we talk about custom columns just in general, we're talking about these fields that are down here. For instance, is this subject to small business set aside? Is this potential BEP, VBP participation goal, etc.? So right now we're going to focus on this right here. So the potential BEP, VBP participation goal, only if the estimated amount is greater than $100,000. So if you have a BEP goal in your solicitation document, you'll be saying yes to this question, and then you'll be putting in your percentages right below that. So in the past, all we could see would be, I think I just received, here, we should be able to see my screen now. Sorry. Can you see my screen now? I think I was just talking and you could only see that one screen. So let me go back. It's there now. All right, I appreciate that. So let me go back real quick. Here are the Training Tuesdays that we're gonna go through, right? So this is what I was talking about: those notices, the memos, bid buy training, updates to the system, etc. I'll go ahead and send these slides out each week as well. There won't be a lot of slides here, so I really envision this being more, quick little touch points for, 15 minutes maybe, and then a chance for us to provide specific feedback to you and be a resource. So sorry about that. When I clicked the recording, it wasn't sharing the screen. So we're going to talk about these BEP custom column fields, the small business custom column fields, and those updated job aids. So now I'll go back to the bid buy. So these custom columns that we talk about down here are the potential BEP, VBP goal. So in your RFP, for instance, or an IFB, anything that would have a BEP goal, in the past, you would have that information and the percentages would be specifically on the solicitation document in paper. Now, moving forward, to make sure that there's no confusion and it's all in one place, it's going to be right here on your General tab in Bid Buy. And so the solicitation document will push everyone to look here in the General tab. So it'll say all the information is in Bid Buy. So you would go in here and you are going to put yes, this has a goal. And then what is the goal? So this particular RFP has a BEP goal percentage of 20%. Okay, so another question that has come up is if there is no BEP goal, do we put yes here and then put 0%? So that's not utilizing this functionality the way it should be. If there is no goal, you're going to put no, and then what ends up happening is this BEP goal percentage and VBP goal percentage doesn't even come up as a drop down. So I know that it could have been confusing in the past, but moving forward, we want to see if there is a goal, yes, and then what the percentage is. If there is no goal, you put no in this custom column right there, and then you won't have these drop downs that go below. Okay, so fairly straightforward there. Are there any questions about that as well? As always, if you ever have any questions, I have my contact information on these slides that I'll put up, as well as you can always reach out to your APO, your SPO as well, and they can answer these questions for you. Okay, so that's the BEP portion. Let's talk about the small business custom column. So there's been some confusion, and we're going to clear this up for you. This line right here, is this subject to small business set aside? Now, we are going to be changing this language to be a little bit more clearer. So in the past, let me give you a for instance here. It's less than $100,000, so it's a small purchase, and so is this subject to small business set aside? Yes. However, then you go out to your small businesses per the small purchase process and say you receive no bids. So you're going to get a small business set aside waiver. You get a waiver, and then you are going out to all of the businesses, right? At this point, is this subject to small business set aside? It's no longer subject to small business set aside. However, the way this is phrased is I could see where it could be confusing. Yes, it's subject to small business set aside because it's less than $100,000, but now we have a waiver, and so that would stay as yes. Moving forward, what we're gonna, and we'll change this today, I believe, is this a small business set aside procurement? So that way it's very clear that this is a small business set aside procurement. If you get a waiver, it is no longer subject to small business set aside. Okay? So we want to make sure that's clear moving forward. And really what this is for is it allows for a lot of the, for all of the business intelligence functionality that's in BidBuy to do reporting. So that's where a lot of these custom columns come. We can do reports, and not just we, I say, agencies will be able to run reports as well for, you could, run a report for, how many small business set-aside procurements did we do, right? So recently, a lot of your agencies have been filling out those the small business annual reports that are due, and so this is a reporting functionality that's going to be able to take place within BidBuy. However, if we have, conflicting information where agencies are doing it differently from agency to agency, we don't get that good consistency across the board. So moving forward, you're going to see this line is this a small business set aside procurement? Okay, so just to be clear, if you're going out to small businesses, that's going to be yes. As soon as you get a waiver, now that's going to be changed to no. Okay, and similar to the BEP custom column, once you is this a small business set aside procurement? If you click yes, then it's going to bring down that next drop down that asks you, are you utilizing a small business vendor? If you're going out for the first time, that's still going to be NA, because you wouldn't know if you have a small business yet. However, once you get a waiver and that's clicked to no, you will no longer have that drop down as a potential anyway. So that's going to make things, I think, a little bit easier and clearer for everybody moving forward.
Oh my God.
And speaking of that, is all these directions that we do have updated job aids for you. So I'll go ahead and pull one up for you, and these will be posted online. Now we are going to be, as a reminder, you always want to go out and take a look at the most up-to-date job aids, the most up-to-date templates. There can be a tendency, I think, to print something off and put it at your desk. Now, the issue there is when we go in and identify something that needs to be corrected, we don't want you working off a document that is out of date. So we will be doing versions as well, but I just want to give you a little sneak peek of what some of the job aids are, and just kind of point out some of the different highlights and some of the things that we added. So for instance, this is the IFB job aid. It's all going to look very similar, so the look and feel of it is the same. However, we've just added some notes. We've added some things that needed to be corrected. Thank you for feedback from the agencies that we've received. That's always very helpful for us as well. So, for instance, as I scroll down here, one thing that we wanted to identify and add is in each of the attachments tab on the job aids, you're going to be able to go in and say, okay, adding files here, for instance, what documents should be here at the rec, for instance. So we're going to have a list of potential documents, and if they need to be showed a vendor or not. So hopefully that'll be very helpful for you. As we move through each stage, for instance, some of the updates that we've done here, we've added little notes. For instance, here's the attachments here. Now here's the attachments that you'd have on the bid. Are we showing this to vendor? Yes, yes. So really, it should be able to utilize the job aids in a way that you can have these pulled up as you're working through each individual stage, and I think it's just going to be a lot more helpful for you to work through. We'll also have little tips. So there'll be little tips here. For instance, for this tip, if cloning a bid, make note of the original rec number here. And so there's all these little notes and little tidbits that I think are going to be very helpful for you. That notes about the system too. For instance, in the bid tab here, here's a note about the bid tab. The bid tab is required to interface with the PPB clearinghouse. So really what we want in general is to be able to empower you to do your job better. And a way you can do that is kind of understanding, why are we doing these things? It's not just, working down a checklist. Essentially that is what these are. It is kind of a checklist, because that way we have consistency throughout all the agencies. However, you're going to be able to do your job a little bit better if you understand, why certain things are happening. And so really that's what we want here, is to understand, why do we have a bid tab on certain procurements? It's because it interfaces with the PPB clearinghouse, for instance. Just some reminders here, note that all documents attached to the quote must be marked confidential. I'm not going to walk through all of these, but just to give you a heads up of, to be looking for those sorts of things, and all the attachments, I think, is going to be the big key there, to be able to be very helpful for you. Okay, and then just kind of scrolling through, a lot of these are very, similar to what were there before, but we've just kind of made the correction. So, and I will say this too: if there's something on a job aid that perhaps we overlooked, please let us know. We want to make sure that we have the most correct versions available out there. For example, on here we have some examples of specific agency specific forms that may include but are not limited to. So we envision this list kind of growing. Because since different agencies have different internal approval documents, or different things that need to be in the procurement file, we're calling them agency specific forms, because the list would grow too long. Okay, so those will be out later on today on a couple of them. So we're looking at releasing the small purchase, the IFB, as well as sole source today, and then look for new versions later on this week. And we'll be providing that information through the SPOs and the APOs, saying, hey, here's a new version of the emergency job aid is out there now, etc. So those will be, look for those coming out. The version numbers along the bottom here are version 20.1, and those will be out on the BidBuy training resources page as well. Okay, so I think that's all I have for today. Once again, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties if you received a cancellation notice, but we will be doing these every Tuesday at 9 a.m. If you have any ideas for specific things that you'd like to have, reach out to your APO or your SPO. We're always looking for a list of topics that you want to learn about. So that's really where this is coming from, is we want to be able to provide these updates in real time to you, but also, we want to be able to provide the information that you need to do your job better. So with that, are there any questions? Okay. Well, if we don't have any questions, we'll see you next Tuesday. And like I said, this is recorded, so I'll go ahead and send this out just for this first one, since there was some confusion concerning getting the cancellation notice. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thanks.